Hi, for my informational speech this week, I chose to talk about test anxiety. For many people, test anxiety is something that they struggle with. This is caused by being unprepared, nervous, not studying, and just not having enough time to practice. Many people like me, yes, I struggle with this too. They think that this is like a life or death situation if they're sitting down and test and they don't know the information. They think that they're just gonna die. I mean, they're like, well, what am I gonna do? Well, it's just a test. And, I say this now, but when I'm in the test, I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? If I fail this, my grade, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to retake the course. Well, it's going to happen. Not everyone's perfect, and I really think that's one of the things I struggle with because I don't know how to. I'm a perfectionist, so if I fail something, I'm like, wow, I'm a failure. Like, I'm just awful. Test anxiety is a big issue with many people, not just in educational purposes, but also in the workforce when managers give you big tasks for you to do and you either don't do it or you don't know how to do it. People stress out. There are a few ways to help deal with test anxiety. To study. It's a no-brainer, just like an NFL football player. I mean, I obviously love the NFL, the Eagles. If you don't put in the time, you will not be successful. It's just people, you need to practice every day. People all the time, they go into it thinking that I'm just going to ace this already. Well, I don't need to study. Studying's not for me. Well, your brain's not going to do good if you don't have enough time to practice and study and retain information. Studying allows your brain to learn the information and keep it stored for when you need it. That's something that I struggle with too because I cram a lot for my tests and that causes me to get stressed out, especially I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I should really know that. Well, some people do and I don't, so I stress out. A really good tip that I actually learned during this speech would be to study at least a week before the test that you know the test date, so you have enough time every night to study for at least an hour to learn the information. Your brain can only keep fresh information for about 2 minutes. So when the teacher tells you, oh, well, I'll give you like 2 minutes to study for your test, oh, well, you only have enough time to learn a little bit of information. Maybe that little information is not even on the test that you just learned. So it'd be good for you to actually learn and retain the information. If you study and retain the information, you'll be less nervous during a test. Practice makes perfect. I mean, in any situation, just like driving a car, you learn how the car works and how the pedals work and turn signals and everything like that. Well, when you constantly use those over and over again, it's getting into your brain. Well, it's second nature. So when you're driving a car and you're like dozing off, and you're not really supposed to do that, but your thought process or your thinking goes somewhere else, and you snap back in and you're like, wow, did I stop at that stop sign back there? You're like, well, yeah, I did, because I know that obviously I know how to drive a car, Just like in sports teams, I'm bringing it back to sports because I love sports, but in softball and football and baseball, you need to learn plays and routes, and we need to constantly practice those in order to actually run them effectively in a game, and that's really important. Another good idea would be to take practice tests and maybe sit in the environment that you're going to take the test in. I don't know if professors do that all the time, but it would be a good idea to ask them. Another good idea would be to take the practice test within the time limit that they actually give you. A lot of professors, they tell you what's going to be on the test, well, most times anyway, and they also provide you the practice tests to show you what's actually going to be on them. I know that I'm a culprit of this because I can't stand studying. I don't know what it is. It's not for me. But I think now I need to start learning how to actually study a week before the actual test and not the night before, because I am really bad with test anxiety. It's just one of those things. Also, another good point would be, when you take the practice test, you actually know what's going to be on it. So in case you don't know any of it, you can go back and be like, oh, okay, well, I need to practice more on that. Well, I need to figure out how that works. Well, so it's a good idea to show you what you actually need to learn. Test anxiety is, like I said, not only a big issue within the educational system, but also with the workforce. They're not even just pen and paper. I mean, it could be an interview that you're interviewing for a job that you actually want, or something that like a task a manager assigns you. Making sure you're doing your job correctly. So you're constantly tested if you're doing your job correctly, because obviously people, managers, and companies aren't going to want you to stay around if you're not doing your job effectively. If you study and prepare, you should not really have an issue taking a test. If you really don't know the information, that's something that you should talk to your teacher about. Stress, which I need to learn, this is something that's really important for me. Stressing out over small stuff isn't worth it. Failing a test is not life or death. It's just something that you need to fix and learn. Well, see ya.